I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval and amendment of meeting agenda items. So we've got 3 items to add to the consent agenda. 12.19, 12.20, 12.21. And we are removing item 11.5. Rebecca, do you need me to state what those?
I've got it all.
Okay. And that is it.
Okay, very good.
Okay.
I move that we approve the agenda as amended.
Second?
Any further discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. Approval of minutes.
Consideration of minutes of May 9th and also the last work session.
I move that we approve the LCSD, number 7 school board meeting. No, I'm off. Number 6.
Approval of minutes.
Approval of minutes.
I'll second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Can you please repeat who made the motion and seconded for the agenda? I made this body motion.
For the agenda, I made the motion.
Oh.
Barry second.
Thank you.
Do you want us to talk louder and we can leave
Well,
the
I
air conditioner
still
on?
had that running and I didn't hear, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I wish we could leave it running. Correspondence.
Well, I've been here for almost an entire year. I haven't had any correspondence yet until tonight. So I'm very pleased to read a thank you letter to you from Greg Larson from Pacific Pine. So here goes, actually a thank you email. Summer greetings to the board. Our company Pacific Pine Products recently partnered with Ms. Bauer and the horticulture class to design and complete a landscape project at the local USDA office. The horticulture class mapped out the property and then provided the landscape plan, which was approved by all parties. Pacific Pine purchased all the irrigation materials, plants, bushes, and bark mulch. And then Mrs. Bauer coordinated a field trip day where the class helped install the sprinkler system, planted all the plants, spread out all the weed control cloth, and finished it off with bark mulch. We'd like to thank Mrs. Bauer and her entire class for partnering with us on this project. The end product needs a few years to develop, but already looks better than the old juniper bushes that have been in place. The USDA office staff is very pleased with the project, and our company is happy to make a $500 donation to the horticulture class for their efforts. Sincerely, Greg Larson, Pacific Pine Products. And Mr. Block, I assume probably that went into ASB.
No, actually,
Should have.
So anyway, fantastic work to Miss Bauer, the horticulture class, Lakeview High School. This is a very nice letter and a great community engagement project. So anyway, it's fun to do things like that. So
okay, public comment.
invited here this evening is Miss Christy Reese, who's going to give a report on the ag farm.
Public
Mrs. Reese.
comment. Public
Oh,
comment.
public comment. Sorry. I jumped ahead.
Do we have any public comment? Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Already gave the speech, so you're on.
Okay.
Sorry.
This is pretty impromptu. I don't know for sure if everybody knows what the ag farm is, so I thought I'd just kind of start with that. In 1976, the county commissioners donated a piece of property, which is, it's over here to the south of the sewer ponds. It's about 157 acres. And Thomas Creek runs right through the middle of it. So if you drive by, you see on the west, or the east side, you see sprinklers running right now. And on the west side, it's basically dry land. Although, yeah, I don't know the date, I should have looked that up, but, I think sometime in the late 70s, mid-80s, Mr. Cahill may know, they did drill a well on there, but right now that well's
In the 1980s.
in the
early
1980s.
Yeah.
The well's not being used at this point because basically, backtrack just a little bit, that land was donated for the use of the agriculture department to help use it as a land lab to teach the students, basically agricultural principles, very nice. At that time, the ag program had 2 periods, I think it was after lunch, that we would go out there, and I remember harvesting barley, I don't know, Tom Pitts, I think, was a classmate of mine, and he changed sprinklers. Farmed it, we did a lot of stuff on it. And then for several reasons, it was put into CRP for a while, and then when it came out, they put it into a program with the town of Lakeview. And basically, any extra water that goes through the settling ponds and the sewer ponds gets sprinkled over that east side. And that's what's going right now. Initially, I think that I wasn't here then, but initially, I think that the ag students were hired to change those sprinklers. So at this time, again, wasn't here, but I think at supervision of ag students and not a real long extended contract, it was hard to keep the sprinklers running, and so the town of Lakeview basically took that over. And they, right now, are running the sprinklers, they run them 5 days a week, they change them at 7 in the morning, and then they change them before they go to work at night, or go home from work at night, and then they turn themselves off sometime in the middle of the night. So, because of that, last year, which was a pretty slow year as far as water, as everybody knows, we didn't have a very good crop on the ag farm, and I don't think it was really being fertile, or being irrigated very well. If you looked on both sides, the irrigated side looked the same as the dry land side. It's planted to, I didn't mention this, but it's planted basically to a pasture crop. In the past, it has been, Dee Sheridan has leased the west side to put horses on, and then Jana and Justin Farrell have leased the east side to harvest the hay crop, and then they rent some cattle on that. Last summer, they decided that it really wasn't worth their while to take to haul their cattle in. There's not really good facility to load and unload there. And we subleased it out to Holiday Ranches, which kind of are just to the south, and there were gates there and everything. So they brought in 25 head of pears to put on the irrigated side, and then various numbers of bulls as they were moving around went on the dry land side. We got $25 a head, I think, for the pears on the irrigated side, and $18 a head per month for the bulls that were on the other side. So that ended up, the numbers that we got there, we got $2,000 in revenue from the Holiday Ranch, and with our hay, which was pretty low yield, we got about $1,200. Other things that are going on the ag farm is last fall we got a grant from the Watershed Council, and because we use that for grazing, Thomas Creek runs right through the middle of it, and we use that as a water source for that side that doesn't, that's not irrigated. So there's what's called a water gap, and that's a gap in the fence where the cattle can come in and drink at the creek, but yet they don't destroy the riparian area. And so what this watershed grant will do is we'll be able to put in a permanent water gap that will allow through and through access, so cattle on either side of the creek will be able to go through the creek. We'll have panels that go across the creek to keep them just in that one area to protect the riparian area. And in the fall, when we're done with the cattle in there, this last year they were in there for about 2 months. We pull those panels up out of the creek because on really heavy water years, we get ice flows through there that will rip those panels out. So that's supposed to be completed here pretty soon this summer. We're hoping to get some kids out there to help with that. Some of the kids have gone out and talked, Marcy's talked to them about how it's gonna work and that kind of thing. We've had, me being a new ag teacher, limited ability to get kids out on the ag farm. I had some kids that went out and staked those wheel lines down before we put the cattle in, so that the wheel lines weren't damaged. And again, some kids went out there and talked with the Holiday Ranch representatives as far as the leasing agreement, and they went out and Marcia gave that presentation about the water gap. We're hoping to do the same thing this year as far as leasing into Holiday Ranch. Justin and Jennifer are looking to pay again this year. We did get the town, part of the town's agreement with the district is that they will pay for the farming, and they will pay for the seed, and they will pay for the fertilizer. And so we did get them to put some fertilizer on it this year. And it looks good. I mean, the crop's up as high as the wheel lines. I imagine they'll turn
You
the
said
water off.
Dryland West piece, I drove by it there, and it looks like you can pay it too.
Yeah.
It's pretty thick, so.
Yeah, we had a good water year this
Agreed.
year. So, anyway, that's what I know about the ag farm.
So is the entire length of Thomas Creek fence off?
Yeah, that was, and see, I wasn't here and wasn't really involved, but I think that was another watershed council project that they went through there and they fenced the riparian area, and that's been 5 or 6 years ago maybe? Yeah, which is really nice, and they went in there and planted some willows, and there's a little bit of Canada thistle in there, but I think they were gonna try to get that sprayed through the grants. Okay. Can I just put one more thing in here?
By all means.
So the 29th and 30th, our officer team is going up to leadership camp up at Camp Codify. And so that's kind of what we're doing. I know one of my goals for this next year is to try to get the FFA kids to let you guys know what we were doing, but we were really pretty active this year. And we've got a pretty involved officer team, plus some older kids that are really interested in doing things we have on the book for this summer will be livestock judging. And we took, I think, 8 kids last year over to the tractor driving at the Klamath County Fair and had a blast. They had a great time. They brought home a 2nd and 3rd place. So,
Great.
what's that?
You forgot about
The bunnies.
Oh, yes, we did bring home, some bunnies. The idea was to raise pet bunnies. It was Jonathan Villagrana and Rennie Nider. It was their project, but then we got the bunnies home and they realized that bunnies don't really breed like rabbits apparently. And they took a little bit of care that they thought that it wasn't quite as much fun because they had some responsibility and it kind of washed out. But we did learn about rabbit production, and we went out on a really cool field trip out by Five Corners. There's a fellow that has about 60 rabbits that he raises them commercially for meat production. And that was a really interesting field trip. Really cool.
I need to brag on Christie a little bit. She's agreed to go full-time next year. So we split, she's quadrupled her summer ag experience numbers. She's got almost 30 kids involved, up from 8 a year ago, 2 years ago. She's doubled her ag numbers. We're splitting ag 1 through 4, which we haven't done for years. She's gonna teach an animal equine science, and she's going to ag 1, 2, 3, 4, and a BMS ag course next year. And it's a national convention year. She's already got loads of kids interested in going to national convention. So we're really proud of her.
Very good.
It's
Exciting, good. Well, that helps.
It helps a lot.
Since we're doubling your workload.
And fair's gonna be pretty impressive this year.
Oh, yeah, 16 FFA steers from Lakeview. It'll be a really nice steer show. We're looking at probably between 20 and 25 steers for that nighttime show.
I appreciate that, cause last year I got in trouble for the FFA show because it went too fast. And I was told that the judge needed to slow down. It's like, well, no, I have 5 kids. I can't make them any slower. So this year, people are gonna be complaining because it's gonna take too long. But I will take that, that's good.
Yeah.
I had a question on the ag farm. Where are we at with the well and the pump, and do we have?
Back on Christie's court.
So what we did last year there I don't know if you guys are aware, but there's a big movement in CTE right now, which is career and technical education, because it's been shown to be the one thing that improves graduation rates. And so they're throwing a lot of money our way in a lot of different ways. And one of them is called the revitalization grant. And we were hoping to get some money through this revitalization grant, which we didn't get. There's people that have looked into the water rights as far as the well. And we need to get to using that well as soon as we can. The problem runs that to put a pump in that well would be about $42,000. And so,
So someone's looked at it, does it need to be recased, or why is it so expensive?
because I guess we looked at it because we were looking for a grant that would pay for the whole thing, which would be, what our plan was to put a well down, or a pump down in that well that would be a variable rate pump that would be able to run both sides, because last year, I think the water went out there the first part of July, didn't it? And so we were looking to be able to, when the water from the town shut off, we would be able to utilize that well. And then we would also be able to run a linear pivot on the other side.
It seems like the holidays pumped out of that well too, the water calendar.
Well, yeah, there's a stock,
Just a
Justin Farrell has a stock,
It's just not
Right.
big enough.
yeah,
It's certainly not big enough for irrigation, but we have to use it for some stock.
right,
stock water.
exactly.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, and so what we looked into was a pump that would do both things, and that's what would cost about $42,000. And it seems to me if we pay all that money to get the electricity put in there and all of the things to get that well in production again, you might as well put a decent pump in there too that will be able to satisfy our needs. So I'm looking for grants, but, you know, I've got a list that is really long.
So
The
this-
biggest cost is in the pump. Right now. That's what we're.
I mean, that's, if we could get that pump in there, and then we could get some main line, we could at least run that pump on the wheel lines that are existing on the east side, and that would maintain our water right.
We need to get that.
Since the well already exists, there's no issues with State of Oregon being next to a running water.
We're thinking we can slip it by.
So can you lose the water right?
If you haven't used it.
Email
Daryl donated a pump that didn't have an engine on it, and it was just, I'm just thinking we spent a lot of money and we put a used pump down in this well, and then it runs for a little while. You know, it just seems to me like if we're gonna put the money in it to get it going, we need to do something that's
So refresh my
worthwhile.
memory, where did we get the $42,000 pricing at?
What Phil Schulenberger did for me is he contacted, Kearns, and gave him just, we got the well test and how deep it was, and I'm talking totally out of my league here, but this is just what I heard from people. Got the specifics on the well and basically told him what we wanted to do with it, which was the linear pivot on one side and the wheel lines on the other, and they gave us a quote. And the breakout, I think the quote was like around $140,000 if I'm not mistaken. And the-
That's what we built through that CT revitalization grant.
Yeah, and so if you look at the itemization of that, the pump and electricity and any kind of other thing that, again, not something that I know, anything else that would be needed to get that pump running was about $42,000.
But the water right is only for the west side, correct? It's for the
There is
whole
enough water on
157?
that, we could irrigate the whole
It's for
thing.
the whole
Out of the
property.
Yes, it's a very, well, at least when it was tested, it was a highly productive well.
What's the gallons per
Right, but
minute
that
off the
doesn't
river?
mean we have a water
I
right
have
from
a
the
well
well
test
on the
here.
whole
I don't remember
157
that.
acres.
What's that?
I said that doesn't mean we have a water right from the well for the
We do.
157.
We do.
We do?
We do.
Okay.
Mhm.
I have the certificate. But I would say that we probably need to, this is an old topic, so we've talked about this before, that's why we have those questions. We need to use that water as soon as we can, because it's not been pumped for too long.
Well,
Even if
we are using it for stock. I don't know how much proof on the water right that gives us or
Not
not to.
many.
No, it has
How
to be
long do we
irrigated.
have till the water right goes away?
It's
Yeah. So, I wonder,
But like she was talking about, she's looking for grants to utilize that.
Well-
But plus, the CTE grant will come up again also. So
At the next legislative session.
we'll bump into that as well, again, you know, try it again, because I mean, even if she gets a grant for out there, there's still stuff
Oh,
I
yeah.
see, you know, I mean, there's always still possibilities, so I know that we've got those grants in our line sight.
Yeah.
But even if we could get that pump running and at least running it through the sprinklers that are already existing.
right, that's what I'm saying, that
That
even
would
if we
get it.
can't do.
And that's what I'm thinking, that through connections, people that I interact with, even anybody on the board, there may be an opportunity to get a pump. It may not be the Cadillac model that down the road we want to get, but we could get something that functions on there that we could start to irrigate to fulfill that requirement.
Right.
And then as we build down the road and write grants, we can then upgrade that to a pump. So I think we need to pursue opportunities to at least get some water,
Christie,
getting through the
you
irrigation.
and I could also have a discussion with calls and Noel too, maybe throw it to the kitty. I'll get some assistance from that.
That's great. Well, thank you.
Yeah, you two are coming in new to the whole conversation. Pushed this out a while ago. So,
And I guess the problems that I have run up against as far as the ag farm is our frustration with the quality of irrigation. We were lucky this year because we had a really good spring. And I did contact Ray Sims the first part of May, and to begin with, just to see if I needed to send kids out there to let loose those wheel lines, but just to kind of discuss with him that we were dissatisfied with the quality of the irrigation, and if it was a possibility that if I could get kids out there on the weekends, that it could at least run those wheel lines on the weekends, and he said that a little bit has changed because one person retired, and now Jeff Marshall is the guy who is the head of the and he was supposed to come by and visit with me, and he didn't. And I just haven't pursued that any farther, but I do feel like that they're doing a better job. I think Phil's been watching that too, and he thinks that they're doing a better job getting the water on there. So, still, it's hard to grow a hay crop when you're not getting it off.
well, and don't we have some limitations on what we can use those crops for based on where the water comes from? Tailwater from the sewer ponds changes what we can.
It's not anything for human consumption, and
We can't go south.
No
No
lettuce,
pumpkin
no lettuce or
patch.
tomatoes.
Okay. That's something else. That's right, Steve just said it's okay. Well, thanks. That was great.
Thank you, Christie.
Congratulations on your success. Appreciate it.
Have any more questions? We got to beat Eagle Point this year. We gotta go practice.
Is there a
Good
classroom?
luck with that.
Is there a classroom? Not that I'm doing. Are you doing a classroom?
No, I've done them full.
What, 10 years? We've been out of school 10 years?
Yeah.
Maybe 30.
I've been here longer than that.
Make it 15.
See you later.
Facilities, I'll start off and yeah, finish it up, but we're making very good progress on the soccer field. The fence is finished. We've got to put up the big net. We had Warner Creek Correction Facility come in last week and lay the remainder of the turf. And Mr. Davis and the crew are doing a good job as far as keeping that thing on the move. Their irrigation is in. Got that done. And so anyway, the poles will go up, scoreboard will go up, big net will go up, and we'll be ready to have the kids go on it come fall. So, anything to add?
Well, basically, we had to have a permit for those poles.
Correct.
We did have it, a part of the requirement in the permit was I had to have it certified, not certified, but,
Engineer.
engineered. So, I called Bob Squires and had him engineer it, and we got it down to 3 poles, which Surprise Valley Electric has said that they can put those poles in for us, because they're the ones that something big enough to set them up and set them down. And, so we're going through the building permit process with that, I had the town sign off. And then I could take it to the planning department to get all of that taken care of, so it was a little bit of a process. So that'll be down on this end, and we'll have the net up, so we're paying for houses on this end. Like you said, the sprinkler system is all in around. The grass got put in last week, so we're just trying to keep everything watered and wet, keep it established, to get it to establish. The scoreboard that'll go down on this end, again, we have to have it wired from my unit. So we're trying to coordinate, because my unit is doing I believe is doing part of the wiring on the elevator. So we're trying to coordinate those visits. So we maybe only have one visit. But they do have to have a union shop to do the scoreboard out here, because Pacific Power and IBEW donated those funds for that scoreboard. We got a scoreboard, we have the beams to put them up with, and that sort of thing. So I think that's the long and the short of it on the soccer field.
Are we anticipating practice on that August?
I'd say so, yeah.
Yeah, as long as that grass is, can handle it,
Established.
which a lot of that is just around the outside edges. I think we should be okay. The rest of it's been pretty well established over the year, so we should be good to go for the fall. So, on that, you guys heard about the DMS earlier. Part of the elevator's here, part of the elevator's not here. So that's a work in progress. And then 80 hay is tore up. The plan there again is about the middle of July, or the end of July, I believe. We have Corner Creek scheduled to help lay that sod. So I think tomorrow the project is going to be starting prepping that field back there behind to get that done. Collins McDonald, 10,000. Ford family, 10,000.
Lions 3.
And the Lions, 3,000. Is there something else?
So
We have the Rotary
Rock
Duck,
is gonna move over to next year, and Rotary we don't know.
Rotary Duck Race,
Oh,
proceeds
yeah.
of Rotary Duck Race going into the hay playground.
So whatever that will be.
And the Ford Family Foundation grant was $10,000.
That was the thing.
Yeah, yeah. So we've got some funds to at least start that and keep that going, and I know that they're continuing to work on funds and that sort of thing too,
So right now we're up to $23,000 in donations, and I think the duck race usually
About
around
13.
13 a year, so hopefully
At least that's what last year's was.
hopefully the community gets in really supports that. We do all of that.
Again, that's a work in progress. I think probably my maintenance crew, that's about all they're gonna get handled. Because I'll have to get the buildings and get stuff done too. That's about the long and short of the facilities.
Building principal reports.
It's your last one, I would like you to go first.
He was helping.
Well, May 9th was our last board meeting.
Yep, think hard.
Yeah, I thought, thanks to Lonnie and Jesse and Rusty and the staff, maintenance, custodial, May is a busy month. We had a lot of senior events, and the community really steps up for our seniors. Culminated by graduation, was very well attended. From my viewpoint, there was about 20 seats up top that were empty, and the floor was packed. So we take notes every year, and we'd like to get, with the bleachers, we have more floor space. So we'd like to get more chairs down, more chairs down. But I thought it was at capacity. It was really neat to see. And the graduation went off without a hitch. Our enrollment just has really been steady. Just, I think we ended right around 365, 110, 111 in the middle school, 255 in the high school, and that's been pretty consistent. Take away, add or subtract 5 all year long. I think enrollment will be down next year due to the graduating class is about 10 to 15 bigger than the incoming class. But we still have that class of 75, 76 is still, that's going to matriculate through the high school, which will keep our numbers up. But the incoming class, the graduating class, we're down in the low 50s. It's a small class. And the class coming in is a small class. It's in the 50s already. So we'll probably be, unless we get a bunch of kids in, which always does happen, I think we'll probably see 10 to 15 less kids in our building next year. But no, it was a good end.
What's the cutoff? 380.
Well, now they've changed it to where they have a SES, a social economic status factorization, so it's a little more complicated than just straight numbers 9 through 12. We're actually, we are, with our SES, we were able to petition if we wanted to look at 2A. But we looked at, after investigating, look at the leagues and the travel and everything around us, it was better to stay 3A. We've got 2 more years of the time block. Expect to see probably as that class of 70 goes through, I would say, and we're hearing that St. Mary's and Cascade Christian are gonna go to 4A. So my bet is our league will just be blown apart, and we'll be looking at deciding, as a admin and board, where you want to go.
They're gonna move after the next 2 years, or they're not gonna go this year?
No, nothing. They won't. I think they're going to stay with the time block.
Yeah.
I think that makes sense. That doesn't, do something in the middle of the time block. It's pretty disruptive for league schedules and everything. I'd like to see Hosanna and Triad continue to grow, and if we could get 2 more 2A schools there in Klamath, if we could get Bonanza, Lost River, Triad, Hosanna, Lakeview, it'd be a pretty slick little 2A league right there.
Burns is
Control
2A too,
players.
huh?
Burns is moving back up to 3A next year.
Oh, goody.
Children be about that size too.
Chilliquin's
Chilliquin's
shrinking.
I know, but it's not very
Gilchrist
often.
is shrinking.
Football, wrestling, basketball.
Yeah, they'd wanna go there.
Children's kids is what they need to do.
8-man football.
Thank you.
Well, I will miss doing board reports with you, Mr. Prock, as well as working
Now we
with
steal
you.
your thunder.
Yeah. You always did a better job.
She
than I
brings
did.
better treats.
I couldn't beat that way. We ended our year in all of our buildings with a awards assembly at Hay School with 3rd through 5th. Our K-1-2 kids usually plan a field trip that second last day of school, and they are on walking field trips. We had lots of great field trip time for our kids this year. And then the awards assembly for Hayes in the morning, Union's in the afternoon. All of them were well attended. Union did a kindergarten graduation skit that was pretty adorable. And then on the 6th grade field trip, went pretty smooth. Our buses ran great for us. I went on the first 2 days of the field trip, and accompanied them as far as Corvallis and then headed back. Mr. Cahill helped me out with that a little bit. And it was just, it was good. Well-planned field trip, and teachers did a nice job with that. I was gonna visit with you a little bit about the playground. Janet's given you most of the updates about the money pieces of it, but Melissa Maxwell has been helping grant writing for quite some time. She's taken some grant writing classes and has some partners in the community.
she continues to seek out grants because we felt like we fell short a little bit with a couple of our partners in what we'd asked for. So Marie Tucker contacted her, and the Outback Tour with the bicycles that is coming through, they contacted us and wanted to give a certain amount of their proceeds to our playground project. And Melissa's coordinating that. And then she contacted me today too and asked permission to also apply for an Oregon Community Grant. She's contacted them, and we fall a little bit outside the scope of what we're doing, but because we encompass several different things into our playground, including the reading garden and playground equipment, but we also had planned to put lights over that basketball court, so we have community involvement in the summer. They thought we qualified and encouraged us to apply for that grant as well. So Melissa's continuing to seek out grants this next year as well, because we stretched this out over 2 years to help out with that grant cycle, and I really appreciate her being on board and helping write grants. It helps me out a ton.
How much is the percentage grant for?
We haven't decided. She just contacted me today and asked permission to apply, and then we'll request an amount. It isn't a set amount for us to apply for. Yeah. The greenhouse has been ordered, is my understanding, for the Union Garden project, and it will be here in July with volunteers and maintenance putting that up. Janet said, I'm going to skip back to the AV Hay playground for just a minute, because I really want to give recognition to the county commissioners and Rick D'Amelio and his crew. They came in, Sam coordinated this for us, Damon. They came in, and in about 18 hours, they had all the asphalt in and out of there. They coordinated with us to start after we got kids into the buildings. They sat in their trucks and waited, even though they were, until our buses were in, we were unloaded. They were just wonderful to work with, and they were so safe whenever, you know, a kid was anywhere around, and they just did a really great job. We really appreciate the partnership with them. So the kiddos have some thank you notes that they left with me at the end of the school year that I'll be delivering both places, to the county shops and to the commissioners.
Maybe we should send a card with that.
So sometimes, it's like they do.
It's good to hear when people.
Let me get that together,
Pretty
Mrs.
on
Fergus.
the page.
Thank you.
Our attendance was, or our enrollment was very steady towards the end, about the same as it was all year. We had a few resignations, and so I'm in the process of trying to get some of those filled, and we ended a good year, and I felt like the first year went pretty well. Questions?
Thank you very much. Okay. Educate us, sir. Lots of numbers, financial reports.
Oh, are you ready?
Oh, I thought that's what you were looking at me about.
Go on.
She's just smiling over there.
I'm hanging out over here. It's getting past my bedtime. I'm getting.
And the heat's coming on.
Yes. Actually, it's
Oh, yes,
closer to
and,
this.
more than one
We have to talk about all that.
page.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, of course.
Okay, so I'm just gonna start off briefly. So, a quick update. Finance committee and we've met for March and April. Combined, both months got combined there. May is on here, however, we haven't had a chance to meet, so I'm kind of giving you the brief lowdown here. And then in June, as soon as I was just talking to Annie, as soon as I get the bank statements, then we'll have a meeting for June, which is probably gonna be a middle of July situation, just because of the timing and the holidays and all that good stuff, so. We're, recap, I'm gonna go back to March just a little bit here for you, so I apologize. Basically, about 485,000 was collected. This is the revenue page. I don't know what page it is for you guys, so I apologize. Okay. In April, a backtrack, our state school fund reduced. They do a true up, about March to anticipate for April and May. And so, again, in the finance committee, we discussed this, and just to give you a brief overrun of what happened there is, one, we got federal force fees in the prior year. We didn't budget for federal force fees because they came in on June 30th. And we weren't anticipating them to. However, with that, a combination of the estimation on the kindergartners, this is what I believe. When we went to estimate our ADM, there was uncertainty of how they were gonna count the kindergartners. The kindergartners at that point had an option to go a full day kindergarten or stay a half day at the time of budget and at the time of estimations for ADM. So, given the numbers, how the ADM numbers fell out, it looks like to me we doubled it. And the reason why we doubled it is because we thought that they were gonna count it as halftime. That is my only explanation as to what happened right there. So what happened is then we true up at the end of the year, and voila, we don't have that many members of the kindergartners. So they start taking away state school fund. So, in the month of April, we only received $124,000, and it's just all to catch up. However, we did receive, again, federal forest fees, which I got the opportunity to go back and make sure that those federal forest fees were coming up for our estimation. I put them in. I would rather have it backloaded than trying to take it all year long and then paying it at the end of the year. So 330,000 of the 588,000 is from federal forest fees. Again, those are dollar for dollar, they take away from the state school fund.
That's SRS, right? Secure Rural Schools. Is that SRS, Secure Rural Schools?
The federal forest fees or
Yeah.
Federal forest fees already out.
Yes.
And then whatever we receive as far as in timber receipts, Oregon has this thing called the equalization formula. And those dollars flow straight through and we equalize it across the state.
We are anticipating though that we'll continue to get those, according to all the numbers that I have, so.
It doesn't really do us any, we don't, it's just pass-through. It is nothing, it doesn't.
Right, right, it's a dollar for dollar take away from state fund, so it's really, you don't gain anything by it, cause if you don't get the federal forest fees, you get state school funds, so it, it's a dollar for dollar situation, so it runs right along with the county taxes, the tax assessed values and those things, so. So in April, collected about 588,000. So if you look in May, we actually only collected about 56,000. And that is because we only received a little bit of state school fund, which was $177 at that point. So May was a little lean, but we anticipated for that, and we shut down any purchasing, kind of monitored that, kept everything in check. So now in June, we have a lot of true-ups coming. The ESD, we true up with the ESD this week. Right now, as it sits, I'm looking at about 30,000 coming from the ESD by Thursday. So that will hit in June. The other thing is we have half of our tech personnel gets paid by the ESD. So one of our personnel that's involved with tech, they pay half of their salary. Counselors, they get reimbursed, or we get reimbursed by them also. So that's been happening all year long. And then, of course, at the year end, we've got subs and mentors, and so those are in and outs, but we still have to true those up and make our dollars correct. Amongst some other things that has come in, again, I'll true up things and I'll have a better detail for you, for June. So we're sitting okay right at the moment, outside the fact that we did have to give back on the state school fund. If you go to the next page is your expenditures, hopefully. In March, this is broke down by by payroll and anything else AP, so water bills, power bills, those sorts of things. We stayed pretty steady, about 540-some-thousand to 545,000 in April in payroll costs. March, for actual accounts payable, 90,000 and 113,000. Now for May, our payroll was a little bit higher. The reason for that is because spring sports ended, so we paid out all of the stipends to our coaches and that sort of thing. So there's a few more items in there for 572,000. And then this is where it really gets tight. we only spend about 39,000, so pretty much we pay the power, water, that's about it. So I anticipate June is a big payroll because obviously we pay out, balance of contracts and that sort of thing. I believe if my memory corrects me, we actually spent about, it was close to the 1,167,000, it was probably just a little bit under that, so that was pretty good news. And our ending is undetermined because we will do a bunch of checks this week also. So I know that they've got a couple of pretty large ones in there to pay that's going to be in this month also. So all in all, where I think we're going to end up at on ending fund balance, which next sheet down. Right now we're looking at 2.5 million is what we've got sitting in the bank. After Wednesday, we'll have about 1.1 million. Just by the time we pay all the bills and so we can clean up for June. So I'm anticipating right around 1.1. Might be a little bit higher than that with the true ups, because I wasn't expecting 30,000 from the ESD either. So might be a little bit, it might be closer to 1.2 that we end up at the year end. Just looking to see if there's anything of significance. And again, this is general fund. This doesn't include any of the other funds. We'll give a recap probably on that on in the finance. Okay. Any questions? Good to go. So also tonight is our adoption of our next year's budget. So I've got some resolutions. I just want to briefly hit on them because you guys have been through it plenty already. So 11,255,470 is what was agreed upon in the budget committee. So we've got a resolution to adopt the budget at 11,255,470. Appropriations, 11,255,000, obviously 470. The resolution to impose your tax at 4.5724 and categorizing the tax at 4.57. And attached to that is the motion that we use to approve the budget and to approve the tax rate at the budget meeting. Okay.
We just need the motion to approve the tax.
It's in the consent agenda.
There's.
Oh, it's in the consent. It's in consent. I just wanted to briefly hit on it so that everybody's aware.
I thought you said we needed to approve the categorization. Something else about the tax rate?
We'll categorize the tax, yeah.
Is that included in the
That's all
motion to
in-
approve the tax rate? Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not two separate.
No, it's one massive resolution of all of that. Then you have the GASB 54. That is also a separate resolution. Those are basically declaring ending fund balances and that sort of thing within non-major funds, major capital funds, and the remaining non-major funds. Let me see here. Basically, the GASB 54 is audit prepared. Is basically for our audit. We run on a cash basis, so the 11,255,000 is our big focus. The GASB 54 is something that is required by our audit. And that also includes the ending fund balance, which gives us restricted, committed, assigned, and unassigned, and non-spendable. So restricted would be Fund 600. Anything committed is Fund 240, which is cafeteria fund, ag farm, athletic. 410 is committed, and 450 is also committed on the maintenance reserve. Assigned, that gives Mr. Cahill and I the authority to assign funds under category anytime. So under, say, Fund 100 or 410 or 450, we can assign some funds to that. And then also in that unassigned, Fund 100 is very much unassigned, we can pay anything. So that will be in your consent agenda also. And then the final deal is, resolution number 28, which is also in your, consent agenda. And under that, normally we do a interfund to the athletic fund, which is normal. We budgeted for $135,429 last year, or for this current fiscal year. We need to use all of that. Fund 240, there's 3 sections of $37,000 that's coming out of Union. It's also coming out of Fremont Hay, and it's also coming out of DMS and LHS, equal amounts of $37,000 apiece. That will also is capacity. We'll need fully of that. Now, the bottom one for the $50,000. Remember when we did the benefit accumulation? We took, we trued up the HRA accounts for the $105,000. When we did that, I had asked for funds out of Fund 600 and then the remaining funds out of Fund 100 to square that up, which would be true. And then once we cut that check, it ended up all in Fund 100. So nothing came out of Fund 600. So basically, I'm asking tonight for a transfer from Fund 600 to fulfill the Fund 100. As to where it's easier to move make a transfer that way than it is to try to realign that check into Fund 600. So that's where I'm headed with that, is about $50,000. What 600 turns into for the 16-17 year, if you guys will remember, is an in and an out. We've got retirees that pay in and we pay it out for them, so that's a wash. We have our 10-month employees that pay a little extra for the 10 months that they're on schedule here. That gives them insurance for the full 12 months. So we continue to pay through the summer for them. That's at the end of September 30th, that basically zeroes them back out again. And then we do have the one judgment that's been there for years that we adopted from Union. We get $200 for mutual of Omaha, we pay out $200. So it's very much an in and out and a holding for the 10-month employees. So went back through, I did leave a little extra in there just to make sure that we didn't, in case something come up in the audit we missed, we've got those funds to cover. So probably next year I'll ask for the remaining amount of those funds to come across to the 100. So we're looking at total budgeted transfers of the $246,000, but to approve $296,000 to include that $50,000. Okay. And I think that cleans up our.
Okay. Any questions for this?
The 1.1 that's left over from last year,
You mean for this year?
for this year.
Uh-huh.
Is that going towards, or is that just we're holding that reserve?
Really keep that.
Well, what we kind of like to do is at least keep $1 million, at the very bare bones minimum, as a carryover fund, which is also included in our revenue for the next year. So, I had actually, budgeted for about 1.2 million, a little over that, in the 16-17 budget. So we're close, but we're a little bit shy of that. I think that we'll have, unless something happens by Thursday.
You could take Daryl's position on the finance committee. It's super helpful. Exhilarating as it
You seem
sounds.
to have the interest.
It's
Well,
been
the
helpful.
11 million, so the 11 million, what was our budget last year?
Just about, it was 11 million also, it was 11,
How much changed?
it was about a $250,000 change.
Oh.
Which, no, we had a decrease because we got excuse me, it's about $290,000 decrease because of the federal federal forest fees, the amount we got was roughly 290,000 from that prior year, 14-15.
Thanks.
Old business?
We have none.
Okay. New business.
Yes, putting before you here is the proposed school board meeting calendar for 2016-17. Our notion is to continue with second and fourth Mondays. However, there are some Mondays due to holidays and various other things that are limited. Traditionally, we do not have 2 meetings in July, so that's why you see the 25th empty on the July calendar there. With August, September, October, November, all status quo, second, fourth Mondays, and then we've set aside 2 dates a year for work, or actually, 3 dates a year for work sessions, October, January, and May for work sessions. So on the last, or the fourth Mondays in those particular months. So if you look at December, because of the holiday season, no second meeting in December. You take a look at March, because of spring break, no second meeting in March. So anyway, that is the calendar for your approval.
I move that we approve the Westside School District 7 school board meeting calendar for 2016-17 as presented.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries.
Okay, we are required by policy each year to have an annual counseling report, and Lauren Chavez is the person who does that, and you should have it in your board packet. I believe it'd be page 160 of the board packet. Do you need a copy, Lauren?
I have one, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Rebecca. So Brandy Harris and I sit down and complete this each year. We have input from our principals of all the buildings and kind of talk about, you know, what we've done for the year and where we're headed, what direction. And so a few years ago, instead of doing an elementary and a middle high school, we just put it all together as a comprehensive counseling report for K through 12. When we look at, you know, compared to last year, we still have, you know, a very strong comprehensive program going on. We work with all individual students. We work on leadership, college and career planning. I would say because of the advanced diploma this last year, we have provided more than just K through 12. We've gone into that college realm and helped those advanced diploma kids this year as well. When we look ahead to where we see our program going, we, you know, supported the 2 grades with the AVID program, and now we're going to go just, you know, school-wide, so we'll go with 6 through 12, and I think 7 through 12 with some support in the 6th grade. And then classrooms for AVID. The advanced diploma, this year we don't have any of our students that qualified, and more of our students are going to be on the Oregon Promise, and that's going to take away the support that we've provided. We'll always provide support to students. I mean, I provide support for kids that have been out of school for 10, 12 years. But we don't have to give the, you know, purchase the books, pay for the tuition as a district. The Oregon Promise, the students are on their own, and the money comes directly to them or to their schools. So we that's going to change the, you know, providing counseling to those college students. Other opportunities that we see for growth is going to be our dual credit opportunities for high school students, continuing with PBIS and bullying throughout the district as well as at the elementary school. Career education, we continue to grow in that area each year with K through 12. So that's always something that we're looking at on what can we provide for career education to meet the needs of the students and the community as well as the state expectations. So I went fast. Do you have any questions?
I know, thank you. Thanks, Lon.
Thank
Okay,
you,
have to
guys.
officially approve the report.
told you so.
I move that we approve the guidance and counseling program report for
I'll second.
Good, that's nice news.
Okay, any other discussion? Yes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, 11.3 classified employee retirement approval.
Well, we're going through quite a few motions here and business items that it's very tough to say goodbye to all these fine people, and there are a number of them here. We'll just launch right off with Dana Gray. She will be leaving us after 19 years. She's been a valued professional, paraprofessional in our special education program, and so anyway, I put to you Dana Gray's resignation and wish her well in her retirement. She's been a true asset to this district and a wonderful, inspirational person for the special ed students.
Yeah, she's had a full, this is 20 years here, but 38 total.
And I will certainly let building principals chime in on these if they want to, so.
She's been a lot of fun to get to know. I've worked with Dana before, but she served those special ed kids and really had a lot of kindness and patience with those kiddos. And this year, they have a point system for rewards every day after lunch recess, and she took all of that on and had a good time with the kids and enjoyed it. And I think she's looking forward to retirement. Mike's ready for her to retire, and they have some things planned, so we wish her well.
I move that we approve the retirement of Dana Gray with appreciation for 19 years of service to the district as presented.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Another long-term individual who we hate to see move on is Cheryl King. She has been a paraprofessional with Title I-A for the last 20 years. Not only is she a consummate professional as far as, helping in the reading program and giving reading assistance to kids and mathematics and homework clubs and everything else, but she's also been our leading staff member as far as, those school fundraisers such as Campbell's Soup Labels, the Betty Crocker box tops. She's always been our leader as far as all those little fundraising activities. She's been on our site committee. I was down there 12 years. She was on the site committee all 12 years. And, once again, a true consummate professional that we will really miss, but we wish her well in return. Mrs. Warner?
Well, Mr. Cahill
Still your
knows,
fundraiser?
Mr. Cahill knows all these employees better than I do, and she really was a valued asset to our Title I program and teaching those kiddos to read. She spent a lot of time with them. She dedicated a lot of time to the after-school program with the kids in math as well, and she will be missed.
I move that we approve the retirement of Cheryl King with appreciation for her 20 years of service to the district as presented.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Best wishes to both Dana and Cheryl in their retirement. It's amazing.
Okay, 11.6. This
Yes,
one's a tough one too.
11.6.
Very sad report to resignation of our music teacher, Nikki Harris. She has just done a fantastic job breathing life back in the music program, her enthusiasm with the kids, and just everything she's done to really rebuild our music programs. She is moving on, and we believe she's going to Eugene 4J School District. And I wish her well, and I do hate to see her leave because, like I said, I'm a big fan of the music program, and she has been a true asset to rebuilding that program. So, Mr. Crock and Mrs. Warner, feel free to comment too if you
Yeah,
wish.
our loss. Eugene's game was a good one. It's sold a lot of music teachers in the last 6 years. It's just not good to build a program that way. Sad to see go.
Nikki would make your day. She's going to be missed because she would come through the building. She'd bebop down from the high school for her periods down there, and she would be singing as she came in through the hallways, and we're going to miss that voice.
we approve the certified resignation of Nikki Harris with regrets as presented.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Good luck.
Okay, 11.7, another certified resignation. Another one we definitely hate to see go is the resignation of Sam Clemens. I went to Mrs. Warner and I when I was still the principal down there, and she was the incoming principal. Went begging and pleading, basically on our hands and knees, to get Mrs. Clemens to sign on. She had her early childhood degree, and we said, how about being a kindergarten teacher? And she by far exceeded expectations. She has done a fantastic job. And once again, that is another one. Now, I was in the buildings quite a bit, went by her room many times, and those kids loved her, and she really loved those kids too. And she is going to be missed big time. So I wish Mrs. Clemens the best of luck. She's one of those. So.
And she's gonna go to school this next year, and we'll do our best back and forth when the staff are in Boise to bribe her to come back, because she really was one of those people that just, you walked into her classroom, and if you didn't know any different, you'd think she'd been teaching for many years, and she's just a natural, and we'd love to have her back when she's done with school.
Quinn was her aide or whatever, peer tutor, and she loved it. So she was good with kindergartners and teenage girls. She'll let her move in with her phone. Good morning.
She can move in with you.
I move that we approve the certified resignation of Sam Clemens with regrets as presented.
I'll second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Best of luck in your voice. 11.8.
Well, I had the opportunity to work with Mr. Glassman, but I know by reputation that we will miss him too, and so maybe I'll let Mr. Hawk talk about Mr. Glassman. So.
Just a real versatile employee, just had credentials in social studies, English language arts, ELL, ended up doing some coaching, just real valuable member of the staff. Probably one of the leaders in technology, use of technology in the classroom amongst the staff. And then, as you remember, the Glassman Foundation, his family's pumped about $5,000 into tech equipment. So, yeah, Jay, that's gonna be a tough one to fill. He's a good teacher.
Independence. I liked his nickname in track, Coach Sassy, Mr. Sassy. Yeah. He was great.
I move that we approve the certified resignation of Jay Glassman with regrets as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Always got some power.
11.9.
Well, Mrs. Warner, once again, I was the outgoing principal, the incoming principal. I was in on the hire, but you worked with her this year, so I'll let you do the honors as far as talking about Mrs. Blocken.
Mrs. Bakken came to us from the Bend area, and she'd completed the OSU Cascades program in Bend, and Megan was looking for an adventure in a small town. She came down here for a year, taught 4th grade for us. She did a great job. She had well-planned lessons, and she just did a nice job, but she had decided to go home. She's very close to her grandmother and her parents. They live in that Bend area, and she decided she wanted to go back up there, and so she resigned this spring, and she wants to teach up there, and she went to apply for some jobs. I don't know quite where she's at with that, but we hope that all goes well for her, and we wish her well. Do a good job.
I move that we approve the certified resignation of Megan Bakken with regrets as presented.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Good luck to her in Bend. Just stay her back. 11.10.
Katie Hammond and Mr. Brock, I'm gonna let you talk about her.
Art and music neck and neck for revolving door. Katie did a great job with the yearbook this year.
She did a fabulous job.
Mm-hmm.
Really pleased with how that, the product turned out. Wish her well.
Yeah. Okay.
And
move that we approve the certified resignation of Edie Hammond, which is Brett's as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I think it should be noted too, you guys aren't, you don't have these letters in front of you, but they're very complimentary to the whole district and their experience here, and they're thankful for what they've learned, so that's a huge reflection on you in the building. So thanks. Even though this is a lot of people going out the door. I'm sorry that that's what it took, but, okay, 11.11, COIC program evaluation.
Mr. Crock and Mrs. Chavez, alternate, do you have a copy of Mr. Crock?
No, I
You already started.
well, is this the contract for next year? Or is
No,
this
it's
the
just evaluation.
Well, we had a great year. I mean, we had, the best instructor we've had sometime. He started last summer by, getting some freshmen some credits that, you know, that had fell behind, so he had summer school last year, and he immediately hit it off with the kids. And man, just was really, between Ted and Jeff with the work program, I think we have kind of we have a very good alt-ed program, very good system, I think. Some kids that just don't, for whatever reason, don't fit into the regular classroom. It's so nice having that option for them with those two up there, so, knowing that they're gonna go up there. And I don't know if he had any kids that I feel like he didn't reach this year.
Really good energy when they came and told us about that.
Yeah. So each year, the state requires that COACNS turn in a compliance. It's basically, they do just a great job in all the accounting pieces, the bookkeeping, the attendance, all the paperwork. They do individual plans with myself for all of the kids that are up there. We have Miss Quick going up one day a week because we do have a few kids on IEPs, and so they meet those needs as well. So, I mean, it's just very well-rounded, and it has been very nice for me this year because I haven't had to spend as much time down there as I had previous years. And so to have an experienced teacher come in, and then Jeff with the work crew has just been, it's been a breath of fresh air. It's been very nice. And Ted is coming back, he told me the other day, so I keep worried about him. He's kind of a nomad, he likes to travel around and do different things, and so, but.
Figure out how to keep them here.
I know, that's our hope. He loves his community and he enjoys the kids, and he took a group of them, I'll just, 1 second, Ms. Warren. He took a group of them, he's done this for like 22 years, where they go up to the state penitentiary in Salem, and so they stay in a church, and so he's got a relationship with this church where they, camp out in the church, and they go, and it's kind of that, the kids told me they were kind of scared because they were sitting in this circle of all these inmates, and they talked about why they were here and how they could have done things differently, and it was just very well received by our students who are up there. And so I just think that he plans to do that every year that he's here, and that's been very helpful. So they were a little scared at first, and then they it was really good though. So.
Very good, thank you.
Okay, we need a motion to approve that too, folks.
I move that we approve the 2015-16 COIC program evaluation as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Consent agenda. We're gonna,
I was gonna move it.
well, we've got to remove 2 policies, GCDA / GDDA, and the accompanying AR, and also IGCA. And then I think that's all we, and then the addition of 12.19, 12.20, and 12.2. We're adding those 3,
work session.
this, and you have, that's.
What are they, 2.19?
19, 20, and 21.
Underneath. And what were we taking out?
Two of the policies. GCDA slash GDDA and GDDA and the AR. That's the criminal records check. Fingerprints.
Yes.
Okay. And
Do I need to say that or just that?
no, that's not.
Okay.
Oh, you mean in your motion?
Yes.
Can you get it all?
It looks like a mouthful.
And the AR.
Can you present it as amended, or would that be spelled out?
I've got it, I have it folded next to the link. Great, okay. As amended. Okay, so I move that we approve the consent agenda as amended. Yes, that's great.
I will second.
They have to be in there.
All in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Motion carries. This might be the longest consent agenda we've ever. 29.
I believe so.
Okay. Announcements.
Just a reminder, that the district office is on a summer schedule, it's Monday through Thursday, 7:30 to 4:30. And the second one is the OSBA Summer Board Conference, July 15th to the 17th, 2016. There. So,
I think we agreed no one's going.
no one's gonna go, okay. I am gonna be attending, so I'll bring back the treasure trove information.
Next board meeting agenda items.
I've got a bunch. We're gonna be doing the high school, middle school, and elementary parent-student handbooks. Staff handbook to Mrs. Warner.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Brock, I don't know if you can speak to it or not.
I don't think, they're gonna wait on that.
Okay.
You know-
They're gonna go through it with it.
And I might wait on the staff handbook. My concern is our telephone system is gonna change how we approach that hostile intruder piece of it. And that's one of the reasons I think I'd better wait on my staff handbook as well.
We'll get the student ones done at least.
Yeah, I'd like to wait until we have something a little more concrete to put in there.
We should have the confidential employee contract approval in there. I can say this or not, the superintendent contract approval in there. Hopefully, I'm gonna hope that we have some teacher recommendations, hiring recommendations. Fingers crossed. And that's it on my end. Janitor, Rebecca.
You'll have that change order, for the extension of the AR. Won't have a financial report, not to July. And go over cafeteria, because I don't have that.
But yet on my end.
Pretty sure.
That's fine.
Are we meeting before the ball?
Yes, we will have an executive session at 5:30 related to the executive session that is canceled this evening. And the executive session will take in two topics. So with a lot of this covered tonight in this work session, I anticipate probably 5:30 start time. So,
Are you ready for
I am. These guys are, they both have very early mornings.
I move that we adjourn.
All in favor? Meeting adjourned.
thank you, Lord.